Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. A very warm welcome to one and all. It's a wonderful day. I am Amir PV. Thank you for all for joining today's webinar on blockchain technology. I feel privileged to extend my warm welcome to one and all presented here, especially to our honorable chief guest of this program, Mr. Rajan Kuttadi. I know all of you are eagerly waiting for his session. Just a little bit housekeeping before get started. If you are having any question during this presentation, please type it into this chat box. We will have a Q&A session at the end. We have an anchor for today's program. I would like to invite Mr. Abdul Riaz to take over. Mr. Riaz, please proceed.
Good afternoon, all. My name is Riaz. I am one of the admin panel of ITE. In fact, on this Friday, we have a very informative evening planned ahead with one of the best dignitary in the field of blockchain. The topic blockchain has been around the corner for quite some time now. It's been time for us to grab the bull by the horn. Being in the IT domain, it is for us to be clearer about the concept of technology and the future possibilities in the area of blockchain. Fortunately, we are in the belly of the beast. Our speaker is one of the authorities in the area with tons of experience in the field. He will discuss about the core elements of the subject, like what is blockchain, evaluation of blockchain, how the data is stored, and core elements of the blockchain. We are planning to go ahead with tons of information regarding the blockchain in the coming minutes. We'll know more about the subject in a moment. The agenda of the meeting as presented to you is like we have the next session, next speaker, Mr. Mohammed Ahmed on welcome speech. Then Mr. Rajan, our speaker, will be presenting the subject. So without further delay, let me invite Mr. Mohammed Ahmed for a welcome speech on behalf of ITE. Mr. Ahmed is the senior manager at Oracle Software Investment Advisory, ECEMEA, since the year 2000. Currently, he is part of the Oracle pre-sales team, head of investment authority, Eastern Central Europe, Middle East and African countries. Mr. Mohammed Ahmed, please, I would like to welcome you for the welcome speech. Thank you.
Assalamu alaikum. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you, Riaz, for the introduction. Being in IT, learning new stuff every day, how do you feel? How do you feel it? Do you feel young, energetic always because you are learning new stuff every day? You are experimenting new software, new technology on a daily basis? Let me give you a brief about ITEE, why IT expert group is important. Can you ever imagine a civil engineer trying to do something different than he studied from his engineering college? like about 10, 20 years back, they still use the same concrete mix, right? The same type of bricks for constructing buildings. Yeah. And probably this is a paracetamol strip. It is the same medicine prescribed to me by a medical professional, maybe like, when I was like my 10 years old. So medical professional never learn anything new. They keep doing the same sort of treatment, what they have studied. It could be like 20, 25 years back. And excuse me if any medical professionals joined in our call, or a civil engineer, because if you have joined, then you are an exceptional, that is why you are there. Now think of yourself, all of you learn new stuff every day, latest software, latest hardware, or new release of it. Things are happening on a daily basis. Those configuration you're doing now probably never done before. So I can see we got about like 25 plus members connected in Zoom, and maybe like another hundreds of members in Facebook Live. Have you ever imagined that you learn Zoom, teach your colleagues how to use it while you are in college or when you joined your company? Whatever the transformation happening now in technology is so quick. IT is really an ever-changing area where all of us need to be updated on a daily basis. Otherwise, you will be out of the job or out of the job market. And if you are looking for happen to be like a move from one job to another, definitely all of us need to be kept updated. That is why ITEE arranges sessions to educate our members, to share knowledge and experience, to empower each one of us. This time we selected blockchain, a topic where big discussions happening, or things are like changing based on a current situation. Cryptocurrency has been in the news a lot, especially Bitcoin, and their investors whose asset values increased dramatically recently. In Kerala, we heard like a lot of people lost their money as well in investing in Morris coin. So our intention was to cover the cryptocurrency part, and later we decided to take a step beyond, introducing blockchain. So that is the cryptography technology, a continuously growing list of records called blocks, which are linked and secured using cryptography. So all of you know that we won't be able to cover this in detail in 90 minutes. I'm sure Rajan will help us to understand it at a high level, the concept and its usage. I'm happy to formally welcome Rajan, who kindly agreed to share his experience with us on explaining blockchain. The ITE members and all the guests joined today's session. A warm welcome to you all. I request Riaz to invite Rajan to take it forward. Riaz.
Yeah, thank you, Ahmed. It was nicely put. Yeah, you told told exactly the same thing which we have been thinking. Like, what is happening? What is a blockchain? Why we lost the money in Kerala, and why in Kerala? So it doesn't really matter whether it is in Kerala, but it happened there. So really, as I said, this is a very relevant question, and we being in the domain, we have to be very clear on what we are talking about. But without further ado, I would like to invite Mr. Rajan Kotadi for our today's speaker. Mr. Rajan is the founder of JC.io, which helps enterprise to integrate and deploy blockchain seamlessly without friction. Mr. Rajan is the ex-co-founder of Calicart, Internet of Things marketplace for solutions and products in USA and in India. And Calicart was the first IoT marketplace for solutions and products. Prior to venturing into starting up, Mr. Rajan worked in large corporates like Hewlett Packard, Digital Equipment Corporation, HCL Technologies, and Texas Instruments for 16 years, managing diversified management roles in different IT verticals. So without further ado, on behalf of ITEE, it's my pleasure to hand over to Mr. Rajan for his presentation. Mr. Rajan, thank you very much for your time today, and please, you may join.
Thank you. Thank you so much, Abdul, for the introduction. Thank you so much, Mohammad, for the introduction. And I wish ITE team all the best. And this kind of sessions will definitely add a lot of value for the people who would be participating to understand the latest technologies. So if you see, the digital transformation is happening everywhere, and blockchain being one of them. So we have AI, analytics, big data, IoT, all these are happening. So blockchain, next decade, we could see these are the transformative technology which will be plugging into all the different verticals. So without any delay, I'll just welcome all of you to be part of the next 1 hour. So I'll try to see that I will maximize to share whatever is information can be possible in the next 1 hour. So you can also drop out any questions at a later point of time. You can also connect with me to understand more on blockchain. Okay. So let me just share my screen. Screen is visible, right?
You can. Yeah.
Yeah, it's
Visible.
possible.
Right. So what we will be, so this, we used to do a lot of programs on blockchain. So blockchain under the brand of Blockchain Innovation Lab. In fact, we also run a product company called Stezi, which is a low-code blockchain platform. Without going with any kind of development, you can go and deploy blockchain. So, can you please mute? I could hear a lot of noise.
Done.
All right. Thank you so much. All right. So as you know, there is a new revolution which has started. So when it got started, so we hear blockchain from the principles of Bitcoins. So Bitcoins, I think most of you have heard about, but today the challenge is people are confused about what is blockchain and what is Bitcoin. So are they both same, or is there a difference between all this? Right. So we'll be talking more on that, and we will be talking about a bit of evolution of how this Bitcoin and cryptocurrencies came into the market, and who has invented it, and what are the other value propositions coming out of that, right? So what you need to understand before you go and learn blockchain. So one good thing is you don't need to have any kind of knowledge in blockchains. So because when you unlearn and come here, so you will be much more open in understanding things better, right? So we will also be talking about something about Bitcoins and dealing with some of the technology behind Bitcoins and how it has disrupted the digital payments, right? We start with something very simple. I will mostly talk in terms of a layman's language for you to understand how blockchain has evolved, right? So what we all need to know, so we need to understand the distributed systems. The distributed systems is something where you have multiple systems will be talking to each other. So unlike a normal, we all worked on a client and server architecture. It's like, say that you name any thing today, it is on the client server architecture which works out. It's like, say your flight reservation system. So you have your airlines, and which maintains the server, and you as a they will be providing an access to you, and you will be accessing their servers and pull out the information. So from their database, right? And you book your tickets. That was happening all the way. So now we have moved from the centralized system. You could see several business models coming in to a distributed systems. And we will also learn about peer-to-peer networks, how the peer-to-peer networks works, and what is a hashing function, how the hashing function works out, and what is the importance of hashing functions in the blockchain, and something with respect to the public and private key cryptography, and what are the cryptographic principles, and why you feel that cryptography is much more secure, right? So there's a lot of me talking and the pointing on the screens and presentation if you look into. So blockchain technology is a bit of technical as well as intricate. people who understand a bit of networking will be able to really grab well. And I will try to make it much more simple by giving examples which will be correlating to what blockchain really does. So blockchain it's all about transactions. So how the transactions happens over the distributed network. So it's more of a distributed database instead of a centralized database. You have a distributed database where your data is scattered across, how your data is shared between multiple parties, and how it is moving, how we are creating a governance structure on the blockchain. Is talks about what blockchain does. So what is a transaction? So anything in it is a transaction, right? So be it you transferring some money, X amount of money from India to UAE, right? So that is a transaction. What is that we are doing there? We are changing the ledger entry from one person to the other person, so that we know about how the money ledger is maintained by the banks. So there will be reconciliation at the end of the day, right? So that is one transaction. If you talk about anything in a supply chain, how the product moves from one company to other company, like manufacturer to the distributor to the retailer. So that's how your transaction flows. So blockchain helps you to create a lot of trust and transparency between all the partners who are part of the consortium, right? So what are some of the benefits of blockchain is you don't need any kind of middleman. So we could see that so much of transformation is happening in the digital world that middlemans are moving away, or they are getting empowered to do much more in a better way, right? Mostly in the financial sector, it is happening. So you could see earlier we used to have telecallers attending to your calls. Now there is a AI system which is taking care of it. You have chatbots coming in. You have a lot of third-party providers are moving away, and you have something where you can directly create value, right? Companies are directly creating a value, taking the product to the customers directly instead of having through a middleman. So we could see a lot of transformation in the housing area, how the houses are getting sold online today. We did not see that 10, 20 years back, right? So it's a new model which have come. It's all came because of the internet. So what internet did, internet created how information can be shared, how the communication across different parties are done, right? But what it did not solve is whether this particular communication which is happening, is it true or not, right? Is it an accurate information or not? Internet will not be able to say. Today we could see so much of fake news. Every now and then we could see so much of videos and other things floating around. But are we able to find out? No. But because that there is so much of challenges, both for the government as for the people who are interacting. So blockchain is going to, solve those problems. So ideally, blockchain helps you to create some value. So value for that information, whether this particular information is coming from a genuine source or not, whether this particular transaction is genuine or not, what is where it is coming from. I want to track the complete historical trail of where it is coming from. So those kind of things blockchain is going to help to solve, and people cannot delete any data once you put on the blockchain. So fudging will not happen, reduced corruption, increased trust, increased transparency, and you can see all parties working together in tandem, so that it creates a tremendous value on the network, right? So sufficient trust of value of the transaction. So it can be both anonymous as well as private as well as public. So there are three different kind of blockchains are available. So for different purpose, we use different blockchains. So it's all distributed. Distributed in the sense data will be scattered across. So ideally, I'll tell you how this is working out. If you see this one, so you have a merchant bank. This is in the original normal banking system. You have a merchant bank. You need to pay something to the merchant bank whenever you're doing any kind of transactions. You have a card issuing company like your Visa card, MasterCard and all. You need to pay something to them. And you have, I'm sorry. You have something in the, fees which, your bankers collect. So those kind of things will also, all this is adding tremendous cost and that cost is borne by the customer. Today, you are paying for the card which you are using, right? If you go and take a new card, you need to pay $500 for the new card. Any kind of new service, any kind of new offerings, because there is some cost added into building these solutions across all these partners. So because there are a lot of third-party people available, you need to spend some money for that things to work out. Say today, internet banking, if you do it, some kind of online movie booking, you need to pay some internet charges, right? So all these are an additional cost for you, right? And what are the costs involved here? Some terminals, network connections, management of commercial relationship between all these parties, lot of complexities. When you have several people who is part of this ecosystem, you will get lot of complexities. And fraud detection will become much more challenging because you need to have awesome tools for those things to work out. And whether the regulatory compliance is happening, whether the KYC is happening properly, whether anti-money laundering is happening, what is the kind of risk appetite this particular system has. So removal of bad actors from the system. We could see several frauds happening. So as we last 1-2 decades, different kind of frauds are coming in. But we were unable to track it because people were working in silos. Silos in the sense, no one were connected, interconnected. Banks were not interconnected. Because of that, people used to take advantage of the situation. They used to apply multiple loans from multiple financial institution, a lot of loss which happens to the financial system. So blockchain is going to help to solve that problem, getting all these banks together. Okay, and whenever a person applies for a loan, it goes to all the other banks will be knowing about what is happening in real time. Okay, the delay does not happen. So because ideally what happens today, if you go and apply for a loan, you can go and do for 2 institutions. The time it takes for the financial institutions to go and report that into the regulatory or the credit bureaus, it takes 45 to 60 days time. That time is a substantial amount of time is there to defraud. And there are several bad actors coming into that system, and you could see several loan frauds happening because of that. The retail loans. So transactions volumes are growing. So as you know, now that if after COVID came in, here in India, at least the UPI transactions, which we go with, has tremendously increased. Billions of transactions are happening. And I'm not talking with respect to one country. Across the different countries in the world, we could see online transaction rapidly increasing, almost reaching a pinnacle which was supposed to go in the next 5 years. We are seeing it in 6 months. Whatever growth which were supposed to happen, had the COVID not happened, it would have taken 5 years for the digital transformation to take shape. And that we are seeing today, right? And with that kind of tremendous transaction which is happening, so there is a lot of challenges as well coming in. So ultimately, the easier it is to conduct the transaction, the more people will transact. Why do you go and transact online? Today, it is easy for you to do it. You have your mobile in your hand, you go and do a transaction on your mobile. So because you don't go and log into your desktop computers anymore. In fact, most of us don't do it because you have a mobile app where you can directly go and transfer, you can do it, everything there with your mobile app, banking mobile app. So as long as the things getting more easier, people will definitely love to go for that kind of things, right? So cash is always a king. We know that we love cash and we love to transact a cash, but do we really be able to trace that cash? We will not be able. Today, the federal governments are printing a lot of money, right? Printing a lot of money. Do we understand about where this money is going? How much is in circulation? And who is holding how much? All this will not be tracked because you are dealing with something physically, right? And government still maintains, but that is not transparent, as we all know, right? Trillions of dollars is getting released in the market during the COVID situation. And that to countries like US, because they are monopolies, they keep on releasing the currencies, which does not add any value, but that is only temporary, right? So, but it is not accountable. That's what I'm saying. So So blockchain is going to solve the problem. When you go with a Bitcoin or any kind of cryptocurrencies, the advantage of that is you can trace the cryptocurrencies back on where exactly it is coming from which wallet it is coming from, who is holding it, how long he has held it. All this information can be trackable. So that's the reason companies around the world are looking for it, but governments are not so still proactive. There are some governments like Japan, Australia, you have Indonesia, this one, Estonia. These are the companies which are really proactive. Korea, right? These companies, these people are very proactive. At least in the Middle East, also a lot of blockchain is getting used. I'm not sure about the cryptocurrency. Is still they are not still too optimistic about, but blockchain technology widely used across different use cases across Middle East, Qatar, I know Bahrain. We are working with one of the insurance companies there, so I know about and all Dubai and all. You could see wonderful traction there, both with respect to AI and blockchain. So this is somewhere where 50% of the population, ideally now that there is a lot of transformation happening, so they still don't have a bank account, right? So this is something blockchain-powered payment network. So we get to the return to peer-to-peer and speed, trustless trust, no special equipment needed. You don't need any kind of equipment which I showed, right? You don't need to have a MasterCard, Visa card. You don't need to have a terminal for you to go and swipe your card. The cost is quite minimal when you go with the blockchain concept. Yeah, when you go and transfer through a cryptocurrency from one country to other, you will not pay negligible cost. Today, if I want to transfer $1 million to a US account, I need to pay some 2.5%. So it just, what do? They don't do anything. In fact, they just change the ledger. So what is the kind of effort which takes up? It's hardly a minute's effort. So you are paying 2.5% for something which is not worth, right? So that's what. So banking system is going to fall completely in the next decade or so. You could see all new different business models coming in. You could see this peer-to-peer lending, peer-to-peer banking, neo-banks. So all these are going to completely change the way we do the banking. At least from the banking, financial, insurance standpoint, blockchain will add tremendous value. So it's easy to create your own currency. So there are a lot of softwares available today where you can create your own tokens. That's what happened in 2017, where there was so much of hype around Bitcoins, all these coins. So you could see all different kind of coins coming in with a different value. And unfortunately, because of the lack of regulatory, there were several investors who lost their money. So just before I was talking about, we already listened that in how people lost money in Kerala. There was a Muhammad or someone was talking about, right? So that's how, not only in India, everywhere across the world, people lost money. Because any new technology coming in, during the internet days as well, in 90s, when nobody understands about what a website does, how you can do an e-commerce on the website, right? People started to create their own websites and raise millions of money. People lost a lot of money. So any kind of new technology need to take some time to completely transform, and people need to understand what is that value addition it brings in. We have been hearing blockchain, Bitcoin and all last 3 years, 4 years, right? At least from the, people are adopting. So this started way back in 2008, Bitcoins. So that was a very early adopters, where a lot of people who are techies, who really want to be the, visionaries, were part of that particular thing. So it took almost 5-6 years for the adoption rate to increase. And we have, in 2018, we saw Bitcoin reach almost $20,000. And it pulled back again to $5,000. Now it is standing at $12,000 to $13,000. Right? Again, it is picking back now because so many financial institutions are using it. We have a validation from JP Morgan, Ernst & Young. A lot of other financial institutions are now going with, Bitcoin-based auction systems. You can tokenize different assets, like land assets. You can tokenize, and you can divide that land into a smaller unit, and you can sell it on to multiple people. So those kind of things are happening. So tokenization is going to create a value, but people still do not understand about how the blockchain is going to be a fitment for the organization. So that's what we come in as a platform provider to make it much more simple and remove all these kind of complexities of what blockchain does and create a good value. Right. So what is blockchain? Now coming back, so I think all this time just want to give a base so that people can understand things much more better. So it all starts here. Like if you see what is this one, there is a block. So this is a block. If you go back around 100, 200 years back, so people had some system of exchange of value. Exchange of value is nothing but anything which you create a value demands, higher premium. If you say gold, ideally, if you see, it's a normal stone kind of a thing, right? So only if we created a value out of the gold, because we thought that, okay, it's an awesome thing to wear. So because of that, ornaments cost kept on increasing. And take an example of diamonds. Diamonds, if it is, ideally it's a stone, right? But when we polish it and when we do it, diamond comes out really well. So we felt that there is a value for the diamonds. So diamond, we created a value for a diamond. We created value for the Rolex watches. Rolex watches, ideally, it's like any watch. It's because of the brand and the kind of elegant look which it comes out with. We create value. In the same way, we also create value for the cryptocurrencies. Virtual currencies or cryptocurrencies or tokens, all these are called in different names, but all are same. And this is going to be the new normal. You could see a lot of things coming out in the virtual currency world. So what these people are doing, this guy is from Indonesia, in way back a few 100 years back, say. These people used to create some value for exchanging this, this one, ledger, right? The stone which is in the form of a, they used to maintain a ledger here. I'll just show you. This is the ledger which they are managing. So what they used to do is they used to go and find out this particular stone. All the village people identified that this has a value, and I'm going to exchange to other people. And whenever I collect this, I go and give this to X number of people to buy the products which are needed for me. So they used to form, each of them used to go and collect. If you see here, these people are all going and finding out those stones. So what these people are called? These people are called as miners. So in a blockchain term, there is something, a concept called miners. Miners, what they do, they keep mining it. So if you see here, countries in China and other places, they keep on mining the Bitcoins. So Bitcoins can be mined, but now it is no more economical because the price has gone so high on the exchange that you will not be able to mine it, right? So this is how they were mining it. So ideally, if you look into some of the interesting observations, the stone themselves had no monetary value. Okay, does the stone has value? No, right? But we, as a people created value out of it, and they thought that, okay, this is the exchange value which I create, and this stones has a value. Eventually, spending your stones did not require a physical movement of the stones. It's like having a bank account and you having some money. Do you really move something? No, you don't. You just change the ledger value. Say that you have $1,000, you are going to transfer $500 to your friend. You are saying that I want to transfer 500. Now my balance is 500. At the end of the day, all the reconciliation happens and everybody knows about how much money each of them has. The same concept was working out here. So blockchain concept also got evolved through this concept. Okay, so it's impossible to trade in secret. In secret, in the sense, you will not be able to trade things in secret. They developed in form of distributed ledger. it could not scale. Do you think that this kind of model will scale? No, it does not. Because how many stones you carry, you will not be able to scale that. So, but when it comes to the computer world, when it comes to the blockchain world, it can be scaled because it is not in the form of physical form. It is in the in a virtual form. So it can scale seamlessly. So what the ledger do? Ledger records a transaction and it passing of the value to owner. It keeps moving from one owner to other owner, and then transactions are time based. That means each of these blockchain, there are multiple blockchains available like Ethereum blockchain, you have Hyperledger, you have Quorum, you have Corda. These are multiple blockchains with different value proportions. Few are open sourced, few are licensed, few have been developed by some of the companies. There's a blockchain called EOS. EOS is it works in a different consensus algorithm has been built. So that works out in a different way. There is a blockchain called Hashgraph. Hashgraph works out in a different algorithms. You have Hyperledger, you have Ethereum. Ethereum is widely used and that has a token as well, Ethereum token as well, right? And moving on, blockchains are distributed. If you see here how our evolution happened. So it started from a centralized. Centralized is something where you have a client and server. You want to book a railway reservation, you go and log into the website. It communicates to the railway servers to see that whether the availability of the seats are there or not. If it is there, it will be booked, otherwise it will show. So, but the data is not under your control. Data is with some other's control, right? Then came the concept of decentralized. Decentralized in the sense, you have something like torrents. Torrents, you have a download manager where whenever you stop the download, you still can download all your files from the internet from different places. I think most of you know about. So that is a decentralized network where even if it stops, it comes out from different channels, right? And blockchain is a distributed. Distributed in the sense, if you see here, the difference between this and this has been isolated with this. Here, you have each of these partners will be talking to each other. That means whatever information you have here, even here you will have, here you will have, here you will. So everyone will be holding the data within them. So you don't have to rely on someone, some X company to say that what data you want. Your data will be in your own control. So that adds tremendous value for blockchain to be a game changer of in many use cases, right? You hold your data without compromising on the data integrity. It's a beneficial for the companies. It's beneficial for the consumers. It's beneficial for all. In fact, you could see different business models coming in. So what is happening today? It's like I'll tell you an example of how blockchain use case is going to work in you have Ola and Uber, which is quite popular as a cab services, right? Earlier we used to have a cab service, now we have, but Ola still manages all this data in a centralized way, and he puts across some of the drivers, right? In the simple business model, it's like he enabled the mappings and all, and some of the drivers will come and pick you based on the location. What is happening here? So there is an agreement between a driver and Ola, and Ola is eating away some money, right? So in between Ola or Uber takes around 20 to 30% cut on each of the ride which these people gives. But tomorrow there are new business models which comes in where there won't be Ola, okay? There won't be Uber. You will be the king, and the driver will make 100% of money. You will have a contract between you and the driver. Different drivers will be going in, which will be enabled with blockchain. There won't be any kind of companies who would be controlling these drivers. So they will be defining their own terms, which will be put across as a smart contract on a blockchain, and he will be earning 100%. And the same kind of application will be working out. So those kind of new models will be, you will be getting, you don't have banks, you will be having some peer-to-peer networks coming in. It's like investors and borrowers will be coming onto a platform. You will not have any banks. Investors and borrowers will have an agreement to pay, and payment will start happening. You already see that platforms coming in. A lot of around 20 companies are already working out in India in that concept. You have a full digital bank coming in, neo banks, digital banks, distributed financing, all this that is called DeFi, which are definitely going to take a long way in the next year, 12 to 24 months. We could always see wonderful traction with COVID coming in. The transformation is happening in a much more faster way. So what is happening in a distributed network? So you have many equal nodes. Each of these node has multiple connections to other nodes. I showed you here. This is one node. This is one node. Each of the node has a multiple connections here, and it's very resilient to failure. It does not fail because in a normal client server environment, if this fails, right, all the people, if the server is down, you will not, even though you have the internet, you will not be able to access. In this case, if this is down, this is live. This is down, this is live. As long as two are up and running, everyone is live, and no one can hack into the system because the data is scattered across all these nodes, right? Even if you go and hack here, you will have the data here. So that is one thing enterprise loves blockchain because of high security, tamper-proof, traceability, decentralization, and tracking the historical train, right? So who invented it? So it got all started way back in 2009, where first block got created. So your blocks keeps on creating depending on what blockchain you go with, right? You can have your block time can be five seconds. Your block time can be 1 second as well, right? So in that way, this keeps going. So while conspiracy theory is one, it's more relevant. Operational denials, you can find out Bitcoin white paper. If you go and type in Bitcoin white paper on Google, you can find out a real white paper which you can go through to understand about the complete history behind and how it has been created. And till date, nobody knows that who has created. But there is a person called Satoshi Nakamoto who was put on the code. But today we don't know. There was a lot of assumptions on different people saying that that guy is Satoshi and all, but nobody knows about who has created that. So code is completely open source. If you understand blockchain, you can play around with the code. You can contribute to the open source community in creating different blockchains, different value propositions on top of the blockchains which are running. So is it money, or is it a digital cash, or is it a digital gold? What is this all about? There are some characteristics to what blockchain does. So it is quite durable, and durable in the sense it is safe for long-term storage. If you go to Amazon.com and type in, wallets, hardware wallets, you can store your blockchains in a wallet. Something called, you can transfer that, you can connect that wallet to the internet, and you can transfer all your Bitcoins or any other cryptocurrency into that wallet. So you can keep it safe, disconnect from the internet, and that will be there with you forever, right? And you should not lose it. Once you lose it, all your money will be gone. There are people who lost millions of dollars just by putting the Bitcoins in the wallet, and the wallet is lost, and they were unable to recover, and nobody can recover it. Once it is lost, it's lost, right? And no one can recover that. So it's portable. It's easy to move around and spend because it's in the digital format. You don't have any, you don't have to carry loads of cash with you. So it is divisible. You can purchase it for n number of amount. Even though today the Bitcoin costs around $12,000, still you can buy even for $100 because that is divisible. So you have a different format for that. So it is quite uniform. Uniform in the sense each unit of value is quite equal. And you also have a limited supply. Limited supply, when you have a limited supply, what happens? You will understand about where it is going, how many it is. So unless and until all the people who are part of the community agrees that I need to increase the supply, you will not be able to increase the supply. That is the beauty of a blockchain. Unlike a normal currency, where today US has released almost $3 trillion. $3 trillion is a huge, it's almost GDPs of few countries, right? But is there any accountability there? No. How are they managing those? They are just printing the money to just see that they come out of this economic mess. right? So this blockchain is going to help when you have a fixed value. Say that by default bitcoins, you have 21 million bitcoins, not more than that. Okay, anytime it is not going to increase. And any company which is creating their own tokens, there is a limited supply. You can create, say that today, in way back in 2017-18, there were a lot of cryptocurrency exchanges across the world, wherein there were something trading which happens, unlike the normal stock market, how we are doing a trading of stocks, the same kind of thing, but it is all coins. So what they used to do, each of the company used to go and create a computer-based tokens. Say that I'm going to create a 1 million token. A 1 million token I will go and create. I will go and give 50% of it. That means 500,000 tokens to the public, and remaining 500,000 because I need to get something as I am taking the initiative of starting that company. So 50% will be owned by the company, 50% will be owned by the public. So they go and put all these tokens in an exchange for them to start trading. Okay, this will create a value because today when you go and put in an exchange, it might be $1. In next 1 year, it will be $10. So you are increasing your money by almost 1,000 times, right? So in that way, your value of money is discovered, and you know about what is the limit of the tokens which is there. Say that 1 million token, 1 million token will be there. If I need to increase it, I need to take a consent from the network, where 51% of the people on the network need to agree that we can go and change and increase the numbers. So these people, the network people, can reside in any country. There is no boundaries as such for them. So they go and find out how many they want, and based on that, they will go and implement it. So is it a legal tender? It's not a legal tender. It's defined as coins or banknotes that must be accepted if offered in payment of debt. Cryptocurrencies aren't regulated by any central bank. Here in India, initially they have banned, in fact, and subsequently, recently there is a judgment from the Supreme Court that it can be allowed, but still banks are not allowing. As long as banks don't allow, you will not be able to trade. So even though it is legal, it is like you are unable to do much out of it, right? And companies in countries like US still have a largest exchange called Coinbase. You have a largest exchange called Binance, which was initially out of China. Then they moved to Singapore. Then they moved to Malta. Okay, Malta is a quite crypto-friendly nation, so they moved to that country. So as we go, there is a lot of optimism from some of the top visionaries, saying that Bitcoin is going to touch around $250,000 by 2025. So we are at $12,000. So let's see how that works out, whether that prediction comes to be true or not. But some of the very top guys who has proved themselves have given this, insights that it's going to really take off. So a lot of things aren't legal tender. So is it a legal tender? It is not. So what are the legal tenders? So is a gold legal tender? No, we don't exchange gold for money, right? We ideally still we have a value for that, but we don't do that just to purchase some groceries. We don't go and give a loan, give a gold, right? Or a diamond or Rolex watches or US dollars outside US. So this is something, an interesting story where on 22nd May of 2010, when Bitcoin just came in, right? So you have a person called Laszlo offered around 10,000 Bitcoins just for 2 pizzas. Okay, just for 2 pizzas, 10,000 Bitcoins. And you can calculate what would be the value if he was holding the 10,000 Bitcoins. Today, the Bitcoin stands at $12,000 into 10,000 is in hundreds of millions, right? So that time, the worth was only $24. This 10,000 Bitcoins was around $24. Currently worth $2.4 million. So this was, this slide was like a few years back, 2 years back slide. So when we were running through a lot of programs in training and ecosystem. So now it has been much more. higher. So ecosystem development, how it worked out. So one of the fastest moving technology, it's blockchain. Now it is being widely used in banking, financial, insurance, governments across for land registrations, for procurement systems, for law enforcements, for supply chains, for traceability of fertilizers, crops, a lot of use cases, trade finance, a letter of credits. These are some of the use cases which is widely used across in different verticals. So blockchain today have been linked to the internet of 90s. So if we see what blockchain today is, there is so much of noise around blockchain, bitcoins. We have been hearing for last 2-3 years. But whatever, when you hear a lot of noise, so that means people are following those technologies, and this is going to take to the next level. Because even in the internet times in 90s, the investment level was same. Investors pumped in huge millions of dollars, but unfortunately we saw Y2K 2000, and there's a lot of crash which happened. But Amazon was a bit smarter guy, and he just went and listed within 3 years of forming the company. He listed his company on the stock exchanges, so he could really survive, and he could buy out lot of smaller companies in the internet. So that's the reason today we could see he transformed to be the world's biggest. So similar excitement levels we could see, right? A lot of excitement when the internet came in on what information, but in fact it was too slow till last 5 years. It was very slow. Now that after 4G and all came in, we could really access it seamlessly, right? So history keeps repeating. So that's what. So whatever happened to internet will happen to blockchain as well, and we could see a new adoption and new business models coming out of blockchain, and new value which gets created out of it. So as you know, just as the internet revolution, access of information, blockchain will do the same to multiple industry verticals. So I talked about what industry verticals will be transformed, right? So this is the way it went on. So initial days, it was all innovators, where it was only 2.5% of people in the tech world were using, understand about what blockchain does. If I talk about in way back in 2012, 13, 14, it was only 2.5. So then slowly, once there is a money factor involved in the coins, right, you have early adopters coming in, and you subsequently started to increase this 13.5%. You could see to 34%. Today, it's almost around 55%. So some of the investments which happen in the blockchain world, some of the famous people like Reid Hoffman of LinkedIn, founder, you have Richard Branson of Virgin Airlines, and New York Stock Exchange. All these people have invested a lot on blockchain. And just in 2015, there was an investment of almost $1 billion VC funding which happened in this sector. So how the evolution of these coins worked out, right? First generation network, if you see, it's all about transfer of value. You have different kind of coins coming in. Some of the things are Bitcoin. You have something called Litecoin. You have something called Dogecoin. You have different coins because there is no end to it. You can create your own coin. So I could say there was a coin called God coin also. I could see happening on 2017-18. I could see. Go to Coin Marketplace, Google Coin Marketplace. You could find all the coins listed and getting traded. Okay, so some of the value propositions which these companies did, and few of the companies are no more in existence because they were unable to sustain. Few of the people took the money and went away, and they were caught, and few of the people are behind bars, and because of the wrongdoings, right? But overall, Namecoin provides distributed DNS. Distributed DNS in the sense, the DNS is completely distributed on the internet. You have a DNS servers which sends out. Through that, you are able to access your internet. So when the distributed DNS happens, your hacking will not happen much. The security standpoint of the internet is going to improve. So they had a good intention of starting that. I don't know the status of that company today, but most of the companies who went with the coins are no more, because building a company, you need to come out a very hard way, because raising millions of dollars, people will pack and move off, right? So you have Filecoin and storage coin. These people, what they did is they did a distributed CDN kind of a thing. It's like an Amazon cloud kind of a thing in a distributed way. And that means what they did is, say that you have your computer and you have some storage space left in your laptop. You can rent out your unused storage space so that they pay the money for that. So they were trying to distribute and create a business model out of all the people who are part of this network. So I don't know how it worked out, but that's a new business model. But they were trying to do something similar to Amazon, which has built for the cloud, but they want to do it on a CDN network, which is distributed. So blockchain 2.0. So it's mostly advanced. So I think companies like IBM, Microsoft, AWS, everyone is today into blockchains. And they did a lot of value on top of the cloud. They did a lot on the blockchain, and which can be seamlessly connected, in fact. And you have multiple things like you have private blockchains, you have public blockchains. When you are dealing with the public kind of a thing, say land records, where you deal with public, you go with the public blockchains. And when multiple companies want to collaborate in a supply chain or in a trade finance in different verticals, in that case, you go with the private blockchain, private permission blockchain. Okay. Some of the use cases which I want to go with, I'll just walk with some of the use cases which we have. So it's in trade finance, which will be quite time sensitive. Time sensitive creation and management of financial agreement. You have anti-money laundering can be, today managing the anti-money laundering is always a challenge, right? Duplicate efforts of bill of landing. If you see, there was a scam which happened, almost $2 billion. It's all a letter of credit, and which happened, a guy by name Nirav Modi. So I think it happened because all these banks were not talking to each other, right? And the guy has taken the letter of credit and availed the credit from multiple banks in different countries. So that led to almost a 2 billion loss to the bank. On what is that value which is going to create for this is, one is you will get enhanced transparency when you go with the blockchain. So this is how your overall trade finance works, where you will have the issuing bank, the advisory bank. Issuing bank will issue the letter of credit here, go to the advisory bank, and you have multiple processes involved as part of the complete consortium on how they works out. Some of the business outcomes, when you go and implement this, it will help you to reduce your, increase your trust and transparency, reduce your counterparty risk, increase the business, the way you do the business, and disintermediate the trusted intermediaries, and it's quite auditable across. So you can find the complete historical trail in terms of how the transaction is moving, who is currently owning it, how things are moving in, right? And this is for KYC. KYC, wonderful use case for a blockchain, because poor customer onboarding experience, we can bring a good customer onboarding experience, and you can hold your data. Today, if you go and provide your KYC documents like your INT proof and all, you don't know where it is traveling, who is misutilizing those. So blockchain is going to solve that problem and helps you to track how your data is getting exchanged between trusted entities, right? Be it for telecom, be it for when you take a new mobile connection, you need to have a KYC. When you go and open a new bank account, take a new loan, or anywhere in insurance, you want to take a new policy. So this is going to be a game changer, because KYC today has come out a long way, did a lot of transformation in authentication system, video KYCs have come. But the trust part is still not being addressed. So blockchain is going to address that problem on how this is going to work out. So you have a communication systems, KYC systems here, where which will be blockchain enabled. You have an identity hub, which will be, you will have the entity which is getting registered and customers can onboard directly. So what happens when you enable with blockchain is every other party will be knowing about what each of these parties does, whether this, it will help you to completely eliminate your complete manual compliance checks will be done. You will, if you get the regulators as well, because this banks face tremendous amount of fines just for non-compliance of regulatory aspects. Those things can be solved with that, and this helps to have complete increased customer control of data. How you manage the data, you can hold the data within yourself, right? So this is again a digital asset transfer, some of the use cases for blockchain, where you can remove the costly intermediaries between all these parties. You can go and transfer the money seamlessly across different countries without having to wait for a longer duration. Real time, which happens, all the settlements, all the transfer happens in real time. You know about how it is going. Within few seconds, you can transfer the money from X country to Y country. This is going to happen. So this is the complete flow on how exactly this works out, right? So it's completely disintermediation can happen, and complete operational efficiencies can be increased, and enterprise can definitely save a tremendous amount of cost. So because doing all this involve a lot of cost, right? That cost can come down, customer experience can increase, and you will have a wonderful value coming out of it, right? And moving on, so we have supply chain collaboration. Supply chain collaboration, what is the problem with the supply chain? Today, there is a lot of, be it supply chain, there are different industries which blockchain is going to help. One is in the drug supply chain, medicines. Counterfeit medicines can be avoided. Counterfeit spare parts, automobiles, wonderful use case for a blockchain. Both BMW, Tesla, you have all the companies today are on blockchain, exploring blockchain, or few of the people are already on production, right? So how your data is getting transferred, whether the customer is getting a real product or not, which is being manufactured by them. So those things can be sorted out with blockchain, which helps to completely increase the trust and visibility across the people. So you have, starting from the time your manufacturer manufactures the parts to the time it goes to the assemblers, it goes to the warehouse, it goes to the distributors, it goes to the retailers, right? All these people can take an informed decision. When the part is getting manufactured, all these people will be knowing about what is happening, right? So that creates a tremendous value. And whatever contracts has been put across with all these partners, it will be in real time on a smart contract, so that you don't have to really worry about how this is getting managed, right? So in the healthcare, so how the patient's trust can be get. So medical records is one of the use case which we can go with. A lot of medical breach which happens in a blockchain network. You will have around every year billions of dollars is getting lost, and these healthcare providers are paying a lot of fines for the regulator, because whenever the hacking happens, there is a compromise which happened, and the government is going to penalize a lot. So blockchain is going to help a lot with respect to in the healthcare industry, both from the, what do you say, healthcare medical records, clinical trials, where multiple places trials happen today in COVID. You could see so much of clinical trials happening by many different companies. Even with an underdeveloped country or developing country, there is a lot of chances that companies take advantage of the people who are in the poverty, and to go with the breach and violate the testing process. So those things can be tracked on the blockchain to see the communication happens between all the patient sites, whether they are taking the patient consent or not, whether the patient consent has been uploaded or not. Those things can be sorted out. And we have the third use case in medical device traceability. So anything coming out of China today, a lot of people, countries across the world is completely angry about China because the virus have come through them. There's so much of challenges. So many countries want to track on where their medical supplies is coming in, where their medical devices are coming in. So traceability solution in the healthcare is a very big business actually. All right. In health insurance, claims settlement is one of the use case. In government, there are a lot of use case like land record management, where there is lack of trust and transparency between all these parties. We know that several things, at least in the developing countries, people will keep fighting about their lands. Whether the ownership keeps moving around, there will be a fraudulent guy who would be coming and claiming that it is their own land. So a couple of governments here in India have already implemented a blockchain on land records. Land record management is one of the wonderful use case, right? So that is about, there are a lot of use case. In fact, I think due to the constraints of the time, I think we have to stop and start taking some questions. And I would love to answer the questions in the next 10-15 minutes time.
Thank you very much, Rajan. That was really insightful. Participants, if you have any questions, you can please put it in the chat box. So let me start with one of the questions. It came from Mr. Nikhil Kumar. Why are some countries still not legalizing the Bitcoin? Since there are so many coins trying to listed down in different stock exchanges, how do we analyze and select one which pay off on long run?
Okay, so it depends on the country's trust factor. It's like if you believe people in your country, you go and do whatever is needed, right? If there is a lack of trust, say that if the country people are not paying taxes, or if there is any money laundering challenges which happens, right? So today in US, it is all legal. You go and you can still transact Bitcoin. In India, it is not, because there is the transparency is not there. So government does not believe the public, right? Or they have their own way of dealing things. So it's all up to the government to say that how it goes. So there are few governments who is just watching to see that how the ecosystem is going, how it is moving on, and subsequently they will come and adopt once everyone else will adopt. So progressive countries are definitely there. Say Japan, it is legal. You go to Singapore, it is legal. You go to Estonia, it is legal. You go to South Korea, it is legal. Australia, it's legal. Canada, it is legal. US, it is legal. It's just that they have some regulations in place. So few of the countries who already have a pain problem of identifying how the money is going, so those people definitely, they will not encourage this at this point of time.
Okay, so being in the Middle East, Mr. Rajan, what is your take on the blockchain and you say cryptocurrencies as far as the Middle East is concerned?
I think Middle East, I'm not sure about the cryptocurrency part, but blockchain is definitely taking shape a lot, because we personally are working out with some of the companies in the Middle East, right? So there is immense interest, because now the government in Middle East, across all different Middle East countries, are focusing on technology. If you see, rapid transformation is happening in blockchain, AI, IoT, all these different technologies. They want to be the leading market players. So government is quite proactive there. That's what I can say.
Okay. Now, another question from Mr. Sajid. What are the trusted cryptocurrency or Bitcoin investment sites as of today, from your opinion?
Sorry?
What are the trusted cryptocurrency and Bitcoin investment sites?
So it's trusted. I cannot comment on what is being trusted, but as far as I know, the biggest one is Coinbase, which is based out of US. Okay, and we have something called Binance, which almost has a huge valuation. Okay, but we never know about, as long as your coins are there on the exchanges, even though the blockchain cannot get hacked, the top layer, that is the application layer, still get hacked, and there are chances of people losing a lot of money. So it is still, there is a risk, but people who are really smart enough, who are techies, take risk takers, can go and are opting for it. But I personally, I don't have any comments. I cannot comment on those.
Okay, makes sense. Now, there is another question from Mr. Abu Kattupara. How businesses can accept blockchain as a payment option?
Blockchain is it?
Payment option.
So payment option, you need to have some kind of tokens which you need to go with, right? So tokens might not be a value, because you don't, as long as you don't trade your token in the exchange, you still can go with, say that for a loyalty programs, rewards and recognition program, say that if your airlines give some kind of rewards, right? So those kind of things can be considered, say, one token equivalent to one rupee, or in that way, if you go with, this is going to add tremendous value in reconciliation of those, right? So tokens can be created, but you as a company knows on how many tokens you are creating and how it is going. So it still creates value. You don't have to really trade that on a platform. So as long as you understand how it is going, it is adding tremendous value. And we have one use case for that as
well. Can you explain that use case just for the information?
Use case is something where there is some around 500 to 600 stores. This is one of the largest computer manufacturer with a lot of distribution and retail partners. And each of these people will be getting certain rewards once they sell the unit, right? But what the ideal pain point is, say that the company X, the store X receives the product, because these people are very close to each other. Store X takes the laptop to the store Y and go and give it to them, because there is a customer there, the stock is not here, right? And if you go to store Y will sell it. So this company is unable to track those on who need to be rewarded for that, right? So because so blockchain, creating a blockchain network and getting all these stores together on a blockchain will have a seamless understanding about finding out the complete historical trade.
Yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I got it. So another question from Mr. Naushad Yusuf: how the value creation happens in Bitcoins? Does it require any sort of value products being required to substantiate? I mean, how the valuation? How the valuation happens, basically?
Valuation depends on the people, right? You go and take that today. The valuation of a Bitcoin was around almost, it touched around $500 billion. Okay, so I think a couple of years back, $500 billion is almost, that time Amazon valuation was $500 billion. Okay, so this was already touching that. Okay, so then it came back below $100 billion. That's a different story, but it has been defined. People define the value. That's what I told earlier, that you compare a watch, Rolex watch, with a normal watch. Both has a timer, both does the same thing, but you are creating a value for Rolex watch because you liked it, because the way they made it, they created a brand around it and all, right? So it depends on how we take this technology to the next level, how we perceive Bitcoins to be, what is the kind of valuation will be derived by the people. It's not by the coin itself.
Any more questions, guys? Is it okay if you put your please?
Sorry?
It would be really tough for us to open a mic for each of you. No, I'm talking to the participants. If anyone have a question, they can put it on the chat. By the way, I just want to inform you that Mr. Rajan have another engagement in another of minutes. So if it is, if not much of a question, then Rajan, can you how much can you spare more?
Another 5 minutes.
Yeah. So we can utilize this another 5 minutes, or
Yeah, plus sure.
please. Yeah. So if you have a question, please raise your hands. Then we can open your microphone for it. So yeah, we have only a couple of minutes left.
So you guys also can write back to me
So
if
if
you
not,
have any questions, right? You can connect to me.
yeah, that would be nice. Yeah.
Yeah, you can share the email address of mine, okay, and they can write back to me at their convenience. And any kind of use case you want to build on the Stesi platform, I think you can also explore that as well. So I because of the lack of time, I could not show that on how seamlessly you can go and create a blockchains, right? So you can do it using this platform.
I think that is really nice of you, Mr. Rajan, to spend such a wonderful time with us. It was really insightful, and obviously the technology is really a vast subject. We have to cover a lot.
Right.
And thank you very much for your time on this. And yeah, I would like to we will go to the wind up session. We will go to the final stage of. I would like to invite Ms. Rabab Zahra. Thanks. Actually, Ms. Rabab Zahra hails from Islamabad, Pakistan, and she holds a postgraduate in mass communication, and she is currently working as an executive editor at UAE-based technology media platform TechX. So I would like to invite, on behalf of ITE, to have a vote of thanks from Ms. Zahra. Ms. Zahra, please.
Yeah, hello everyone. Thank you so much, Reyas, for giving me this opportunity, and hope you all are doing well. This is me, Rabab Zahra. Reyas has already introduced myself. So basically here, I would like to, more than myself, I would like to introduce my organization first. As Reyas has told that I am working as an executive editor at TechX. So you all must be wondering that what TechX is. So I would like to tell that TechX is a leading technology media platform in Middle East Africa region. And we have our own news website and our YouTube channel. So what all is happening in technology industry in Middle East Africa region is happening on TechX. So to get an idea that what TechX is, you can visit our website and to know about all the latest happenings of technology industry. And as ITEE is a non-profit organization, so how TechX can offer support to ITEE community is being an editor. I would like to open our doors for ITEE community, as it's a news media platform. So whosoever, if anyone of you is passionate about writing or is a blogger, would like to write about anything related to technology, they can send their write-ups to me. And I will make it sure that they get published on the leading technology media platform. We are UAE based, and once I will receive some write-ups from your side, I will be very glad to represent ITEE on TechX. That's all from me, and I would like to extend my support to IT community, and I would like to appreciate this effort in technology advocacy. This webinar, it was really insightful and really informative. That's all from my side. Thank you so much.
Thank you very much, Ms. Zahra. That was really a very good step for us, and we are trying our level best to extend whatever possible help we can do for the IT community in the Saudi Arabia, and especially to the Middle East. So it will be a very big platform for us to be presented in TechX. And thank you very much for your offering. We are really grateful to you. Thank you very much. Guys,
Thank you.
this is the end of the session, and I personally thank all of you on behalf of TE for being present in this session. And Mr. Rajan, it was really nice of you to have some time with us, and we expect you
Thank you so much.
again back again.
Thank you. Have a good day.
We expect you back again in the platform with a different subject, with some time. Thank you very much. Have a nice evening. Stay home. Stay safe. Bye. Assalamu alaikum.